Is this a very, very special edition of?
Super duper special. This is almost going to be one of the most special editions out there.
All right. And having said that, why don't you bring us in properly? 3,
All right.
2, 1.
NFL Conference Championship game picks.
That's a mouthful.
That's
a mouthful.
I know.
I had to go look up to see what they actually called this round. I'm so used to college, and I was
it's conference championships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a conference championship.
Yep.
AKA the right to go to the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
First game coming up tomorrow, or I guess today by the time y'all are watching this.
Right.
The interesting one. Casey, first off, both games are the 1 seed versus the 3 seed.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the 2 seeds, one 2 seed bowed out very early. The second one bowed out in the second round. So that being Buffalo and Dallas.
Yes.
So 1 seed and the 3 seeds. Kansas City at Baltimore. Do you know which Harbaugh is going to be coaching in this game?
Is it John?
Okay. So his brother doesn't get to take over, even though he just
not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
This is like Lamar Jackson needs to prove that he's ready for the whole thing.
Right.
Kansas City, Pat Mahomes, like the beast that you just can't kill. Like This is an interesting game.
It is. I feel like I hate to bring this up, but the whole Taylor Swift thing, I think a lot of people want Kansas City to win, and they're like kind of like falling into being America's team right now since the Cowboys are out. It's the Chiefs. But to your point, as far as Lamar Jackson, like this is one of the better Baltimore teams. This might be the best Baltimore team he's been on since he's been in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He's having a phenomenal season, probably going to win the MVP. He's got offense, he's got the receivers, got the running game is dominant, and their defense is just equally as dominant on the defensive side of the ball as well. So if you're Lamar, you're thinking if you don't win tomorrow and don't make it to the Super Bowl, like I don't know if it's going to happen again. Because even you pointed out to me, and you had me to realize, like making it to 2 Super Bowls in a row is really, really difficult.
It's tough, especially the way personnel changes, and the target on your back and the pressure. I mean, it's just you can't guarantee anything from year to year. Now, Kansas City, obviously, if they win this game, they're back in the Super Bowl, so they prove all that wrong. But ask Philly about how that went. They started off 2 seasons in a row great, and then this season out in the first round. So,
midway through the season, I thought Philly was going to make it back to the Super Bowl, but then like to your point, things just went downhill. They had some injuries, and they just weren't as dominant. And if you take a look at Kansas City, like they haven't looked really dominant in the playoff games. Obviously, they beat my Dolphins in the first round, but that was an ugly game.
That was light work, though.
That was light work. Then they got lucky with Buffalo. Buffalo should have won that game. Let's admit it. Buffalo should have won that game, but they beat Buffalo.
I picked Kansas City, so I think
I know you did. I know you did. I picked Buffalo. You picked Kansas City, so I was wrong with that one.
I didn't hear what.
But Kansas City has not looked like really, really dominant, and I think they're going to meet their match tomorrow. I think Baltimore's favored by 4.5.
Right.
I think Baltimore's going to cover, and I think Baltimore's going to win the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I think this is where it stops for Kansas City. It's like no disrespect to Mahomes and what he's done with really a subpar cast out there. Yeah. Defense is playing great, so I think they can kind of keep this game tight for a long time. But I just feel like fourth quarter. I feel like Baltimore covers and the score, they probably end up winning by like 14.
Yeah.
But going into the fourth, they're like tied or up by 3, and they just tack on something late, when Mahomes is trying to force something because time's running out. And everyone's like, oh, look at how bad they beat him. No, it was a tight game. You know how those games are. The final score is not going to tell us the whole story.
Yeah.
I just feel like Baltimore's got too much, both sides of the ball, the home field advantage, Lamar playing well. Great receiving core now. Well, but good receiving core now. So I just feel like they've got too much both ways.
I agree. I agree, and I do think Kansas City's front four is going to put some pressure on Lamar, but with his escapability factor, I mean, I don't know. They're going to do what they can to him, but I think he's got too many weapons out there, and he's going to be able to do exactly what it takes to get the job done. And I see Baltimore going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Kansas City defense is going to be apoplectic when they see how many yards he runs for.
Yes.
All right, that goes on to so Detroit at San Francisco. The biggest story coming out of this one, Deebo Samuel.
Deebo.
Yep. It's funny, like if anybody who made their picks earlier in the week, not knowing his status, that kind of throws it up in there. He is supposed to play. He's been cleared to play.
He's been cleared to play.
Still makes me wonder about the first hit that he takes. How's that gonna go? But
just because he's cleared to play does not mean he's like at even 90%. So to your point, I think he's still gonna be a little hobbled. It'll be interesting to see how he just kind of does take those hits to see if he's gonna be at somewhat close to full strength, which he won't be. But I think Brandon Ayuk is probably going to be the go-to guy for San Francisco tomorrow. And, of course, Christian McCaffrey will help out the load. You got Kittle, then you got the fullback, Kyle.
KJ?
So, yeah. So this is going to be a lot of weight to be put on Brock Purdy's shoulders. I think throughout the season he's been labeled as
what do you think about the Brock Purdy kind of?
I think Brock Purdy is on. I kind of look at it like a Draymond Green type of situation. Draymond Green is on the best possible team for his skill set. Brock Purdy just happened to land on a team where he's got weapons all over the place, so he doesn't need to throw for 300 to 50 yards a game. Hand the ball off, make the passes, just get the job done, and that's all he needs to do. So, and keep in mind, he is Mr. Irrelevant, so I don't think he's really bothered by what people are saying. I mean, he was the last pick in the draft. Come on. Hey, I'm doing exactly what I need to do to get my team on to precede them in the playoffs. And same thing with JJ McCarthy from Michigan. Didn't have to be great. Sorry.
Why do you have to break this stuff? We're not even talking about
I'm just using these as examples. Didn't have to be great. He just had to do exactly what it takes to get the job done. So as far as the QB comparisons, they can say what about Purdy, but look where he is. They have a good chance to win tomorrow.
Yep.
However, I'm going with the Lions tomorrow. This is like the dream story going on for the Detroit Lions haven't made it. When was the last time they made it to a Super Bowl?
I don't even think they had Super Bowls when they were.
Yeah, it's been forever.
Yeah.
Detroit's got a good team. If you look at roster wise and just how they play, Detroit plays pretty much similar. They've got a good roster on that team. Yeah. They've got a dynamic duo for the running back.
Drafted amazingly.
They did. A lot of people criticized them for taking a running back at 12 with Gibbs, but I mean, he's in running to be one of the offensive rookies of the year. He's had a phenomenal season. He's been able to showcase his speed, catching abilities, etc. Montgomery's helped out. I wish J-Mo would get the ball more because he is a Bama guy. But we're just gonna name all the Bama guys. They've got Laporta, they got St. Brown. I mean, they've got a good receiving core. Jared Goff's having a phenomenal year. Who are you going with before I give my pick? And I think I already did, but
I'm going with Detroit. I
am too.
If I knew Deebo was 100%, I think that kind of seals it for San Francisco. All the weapons that you mentioned, but he still makes them go. But when he missed those 3 games?
Yep.
They lost all 3 games. You mentioned Ayuk. I think Ayuk is better as a second receiver than a first. And then Jennings is obviously your third. But he just kind of he kind of slots everybody in their proper spots and he makes that whole offense go.
Yep.
Knowing that he's in there kind of gives me a slight edge to San Francisco, but I mean, you got to think this is Detroit's year.
I think so.
Hoda is texting me every time about the Lions to the Super Bowl.
He messages me too. Like we message each other on Facebook too. He's like, Lions to the Super Bowl. Every time they win, Lions to the Super Bowl. And it was funny. Weeks ago, I would laugh like, dude, they're not going to the Super Bowl. But now you look at them like they're on the cusp and they have a really good chance to win tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think San Fran's favored by what? A touchdown? Yeah.
Which is weird. I didn't think the line would be that big.
I thought it would be like 3, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and maybe with Deebo, that's pushing it out a little further. But I mean, I like.
Well, I wonder what the line was prior to Deebo getting cleared. Was it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it like 5? I don't know what that was. But even with him being cleared, I'm still going with Detroit in this game.
Yeah,
and
it says on here or at least on CBS, it opened at 7, so maybe it stayed. I didn't think so, but I wasn't paying attention to earlier in the week. No, I mean, I'm pulling for Detroit. I love the story. I love the weapons.
Yep.
I think had Detroit gone into Dallas and just got blown out, and I know these are 2 different teams, but Dallas was playing great at home.
Right.
That I might be worried, but I think because of Dan Campbell, they're just not scared of anybody. Yeah. I think mentally you need that kind of edge going into something like this.
I agree.
I'm picking Detroit based on Debo not being 100%, and just like the cool story vibe of the whole thing. So
I agree. I think Detroit's going into this game they don't have much to lose. Obviously, if they lose, it's over. But I mean, San Francisco has more to lose and more to prove in this game. Detroit's just we're going to lay it all on the line and just see what happens.
That's the key to them. So I don't know. I like the way they're playing. I love their moxie.
Moxie. I like that. That. So we both have Baltimore versus Detroit as our Super Bowl picks. So.
Yeah, which means it'll probably be Kansas City versus.
I just don't want Kansas City to win. I really don't.
Are you one of those? Is it because
it's not because they beat the Dolphins up, but I'm just tired.
Yeah, because everybody beat the Dolphins. Yeah, that's.
Wow. The Dolphins, even after the season's over, the Dolphins' disrespect continues.
Well, people should be looking. We're gonna have a Dolphins roundtable, so we kind of dissect what happened this season and what went wrong. So we will. Since I'm not the Dolphins fan, I'll just host it and let you and Big Mike break out.
Yeah, you're a Texans fan. How fitting. Hey, we made it to the playoffs. Won a playoff game. Let me root for that team.
Yes, and buy a T-shirt. So
yes.
Hey, better than we made the playoffs barely and lost first round.
Coming, honey.
All right, so Baltimore versus Detroit.
Baltimore versus Detroit. Yeah,
I just want two good games too, man. I don't want it to be like end of one game and you're like, when's the next game? Come on, stuff like that. So, should be a fun time. All right, Rodg, take us home.
Outro music. We have just made our NFL Conference Championship picks. Do you like them? Do you know? Huh? Who cares? It's going to be on our YouTube channel, Herb and Rodg.
Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.